Good evening, everybody. We are starting up here in just a moment. Just making sure everything on our end is good. Do not expect top tier quality, let me tell you.
We only provide the best.
Only the best.
Some of the best. Meanwhile, as people will see here in just a second, we have... Oh no, it's all messed up. No. Oh no.
I get frozen again.
Yeah, you got frozen, and I just messed up like the whole thing. Here we go. Let's fix this. Here we go. There we go. Just fixed it. Got that all situated. That's gonna show up to everybody in like a few minutes. All janked up. Now we know for the future not to get this all
Perfect.
done. Yeah, if you look at it, it's just all messed up. But you know, that's okay. We're working through the growing pains here. Learning how to do this properly. So, all right. So, welcome everybody. This is our first episode of our podcast, the Secret Cantina, in our series, where we go ahead and we want to go ahead and talk about just the world of Star Wars, things going on, and you know, just have a good time while doing it. So, if you'd like to bring a drink and hang out, by all means, come and do so. Ryan will have his camera here fixed probably at some point, but you know, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, bear with me on that.
Yeah, it's going to be all right. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First, I want to introduce my two teammates here. I have Ryan Conroe and Andrew. I always pronounce this incorrectly, and I do apologize. Is it Strauch
okay.
or Strouch?
Strauk.
Strauk. Okay, all right. See,
Perfect.
my bad.
You got it.
See, that's my bad. But I have Andrew Strauk and Ryan Conroe here. The other two hate us, and they didn't feel like being here today. No, in all reality, Michael wanted
more important things to do.
Yeah, Michael is he might be in chat, but he wanted to spend some time with his wife. So, thank you, Michaela, for going ahead and lending us your husband for the day, but we could not have him for the evening today. But thank you as much. And Sonny is doing Sonny things. He's just around.
He's probably in Europe or something.
Yeah, he might be on a plane to Europe. We don't know. He's been talking about going to Lille for the sector. So, or is it? No, it's the regional in there. So he might be doing whatever he's doing. But yeah, so before we get started, I do want to go ahead and say a huge early congratulations and super excited for this coming weekend. Andrew Strauk is getting married, and I want to say congratulations to him. That is, it's really awesome. He and his wife or fiance are getting married this coming weekend, and so our whole team is super excited and super happy for you. So congratulations, bud.
Yeah, thanks. Really looking forward to it. Very excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael is also married, so he's a prisoner, as we joke around and say. So you're gonna soon be there.
There you go.
But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and we've got some stuff we want to talk about. I also want to go ahead and give a shout out to the Bantha team. I see Ian is here in the chat, and awesome for you to go ahead and tune in. So I want to go ahead and first say thank you to the Bantha Network. It's a few weeks late. We're getting new to the entire podcast space, but we wanted to say thank you to them for putting on BIATL. That was an absolutely amazing event for the community. I cannot wait for the next one to happen. We had a great time, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in terms of how we prepped for it. But I did want to make a huge shout out to Frank and the entire Bantha team, and even McClunky. Congratulations to them for how well they did in the entire tournament, and KTOD for taking down the team event. It was awesome. So I know Andrew didn't go.
I was just saying, such an exciting way to kick the set off too. I mean, it was the first real big event we had, and we knew there was going to be Django, but aside from that, we didn't know, how everything was going to shake out, and the anticipation leading up to that event, and I know a ton of people talked about watching the games and really enjoyed just spectating as well.
Yeah, it was awesome. From a player's perspective, I know I had a great time. I think Ryan had a great time.
It was fun to play Django for a day, I guess.
Getting in while the getting's good.
Being the Django player, you don't really feel like you have to be that prepared. You play Django, play TDR. That's how you win.
Well, you didn't play TDR, from what I understand. You only had like a few times that you got to play the card.
That's true. It showed up when I needed it. So
Yeah,
if I didn't top
absolutely.
deck it, it wasn't there. So
Yeah, absolutely. And also just like going around Atlanta, we went to the World of Coke, and that was super fun. There's some terrible flavors out there. I think we put them in our Discord, a video of us taking a shot of the sour plum Fanta, and
Mm.
that is literally barbecue sauce. So if you want to know what it tastes like, go ahead and take some Sweet Baby Ray's, put it in a bottle, add some carbonated fluid to it or something, and take a shot. It's terrible. I guess unless you like carbonated water or carbonated barbecue sauce, but not for me.
I do
also,
believe that sounds like that was something that was invented in Atlanta, though. That sounds believable.
I think it's a European drink. Actually, I think they
Oh, really?
created it
Okay.
for Europeans.
All right. But I saw barbecue sauce, Southern. That sounded like that'd be a
yeah,
good fit.
That's fair. Uh,
whatever Italy has going on with Beverly
oh, dude,
soda, that was awful.
that actually tastes like dirt. There's like this
Yeah,
aftertaste, and if you want to know what that tastes like, you can step outside your local house or wherever you live, find a nice patch of dirt, and go ahead and put it in some water, mix it up, and put that in your mouth, and you've basically maybe you put some carbonation, and you basically have the Beverly. Um, I'm convinced that's what they did, and I think there's some, what did they say, 5% people are
less
like,
than
yep,
that
that's our drink, it's something
because
like that.
they have a Coke bar, and that soda was in one of the alcoholic drinks, and they're like, "Oh
Ugh.
yeah, only like 0.1% people like this." I'm like, "Why are you selling this? Like, it makes no
It's
sense."
and for those out there, Michael's wife loves it.
Yeah,
She loves the drink,
we found the
and
0.1%.
yeah,
There you go.
repping the 0.1%. They're there. They exist. So shout out to them.
It's like
But
the Dr. Afra of Swoo.
yeah,
Or Dr. Afra of Coke, I guess.
or the Mace Windu's. Shout
Yeah.
out to Michael on that one. And then what else we do? We went to some local eateries around. Sonny's from there. He went to Georgia Tech, and so we got to really see the area, which was also awesome. And I cannot emphasize enough how awesome Cards HQ was. That place was great. The seating arrangement for viewing the event, absolutely amazing. The space, I mean, it was just awesome. The staff was great. Everything about that place was wonderful. Parking, like there was so much parking. I think it's like a parking garage basically. And if you in between rounds or whatever, if you need to get your steps in because you're just going ahead and sitting there. I know Michael and Ryan and I, we did a few laps going around the parking lot. It's like what, a quarter mile or something like that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Got like two
Nice.
miles in.
you just go outside, get some nice cool air, get out of the building, and do a nice lap. Get a little exercise while you're doing it. So yeah, it was awesome. So I know we prepped for it quite a bit. We had some different ideas on our team. Andrew helped us immensely, even though he wasn't there. He was with us in spirit. I mean, he was talking to us about throughout the entire process, basically like he was going, and you were super instrumental in helping Brian on my team and Michael on Ryan and Sonny's team playing Quinlan. And it was, I mean, the amount of testing you guys did was a lot. I mean, you guys had the Vostok and everything, like specifically for it, of which Brian didn't know about until the end, which was kind of funny. He was like
That
excluded.
was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was like, we are like, oh, it's like in the document. He was like, what? It's like, yeah, the Vostok. It's like, I just didn't get that information.
Newly formed team, figuring out
Yeah,
the
for,
process.
forgetting all of that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I tested Piet a lot, and I played a lot of Han also. And so Sonny and I messed around with Han Green a lot and different ideas for how that was going to go. And it was super fun. Just prepping for a whole new set, going into it. That event was like perfect timing, like you said earlier, Ryan. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it was awesome. I didn't get to prep as much as I wanted to for BIATL. I was, but when I was prepping, like I was really trying to make JTL Vader Pilot leader work for like the 6K event,
Yeah.
and like after just getting Falcon chewied by Sunny and playing against Django, I was like, yeah, there's no way that I can play this deck for
Yeah.
Saturday. So
Yeah. Oh, so you decided you were just like, you know what? Let's just YOLO Luke ECL, right? That was the better
okay,
choice, clearly.
that, that might have been better because I got to Falcon Chewy, or not Falcon Chewy, A-Wing Chewy people. So it was better.
He saw ECL record and was like, I get this.
Yeah.
That's my that's my thing. I got Poe, I got Wrecker, I got ECL. It's a good time.
It feels comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I know it was a few weeks late, but I wanted to make sure we touched on that. And really huge shout out to the Bantha team and everybody for Cards HQ for putting that on. It was phenomenal event, and I can't wait for the next one. So, and with that, we've had some sectors and some controversy about how they've been run and some stuff going on with them. I'm curious what you guys feel about those events and how you guys feel about the prize wall, the do you feel like 7 and 2 is enough with the amount of people getting into day two? What do you think about the prizes, such as like the top 64? I'm like, what's curious about your guys' like ideas about that?
Yeah, Andrew, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. Fortunately, so no one on our team went to a sector except for Sunny. But, that's fortunately we were basically like able to get, all of the first hand accounting, which was pretty cool. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think overall, the more competitive players were like pretty happy with the event, with the exception of I think like you said, the rounds of Swiss. I think it was probably pretty disappointing for someone to, advance to day two, and then you only get 2 rounds of Swiss, and then you win out, and then you don't make top cut, which is like, almost kind of like, well, why are we even running in day two at that point? I think,
It was
and I
supposed to
get it
be
from
3 days or 3 rounds, 3 or 4 rounds day two, right? That was what it was supposed to be.
right, and there was like timing issues, I guess, and they had other events going on, so I understand all that, but yeah, it's kind of just feels like a little odd. It's like, well, maybe we should just keep it to one day or actually have like the 4 rounds because it's like, why are we kind of bothering? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I definitely like if I was in that position, I can understand like why some of those people were frustrated because it's like, well, you kind of you get to day two. I'm sure that feels good, but then you're like, well, I didn't really there wasn't like much play, I think, to be able to advance the top cut. And then yes, some of the prize wall stuff was kind of out of a little bit out of whack, but I do think they adjusted that for day two, is my understanding. So that's positive. But there was the interview with the OP manager. I forget his name, but he addressed like all of the issues in detail. So it seems like there's some growing pains, but I think that's probably to be expected with like season zero and all that. And these are bigger events, but yeah, I mean, I kind of hope they'll definitely make some changes going forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
How about you, Ryan?
yeah. I think like we are the guinea pigs. Like this is still year one, just out of year
Yeah.
one. So I think they will try their best to make it better. In terms of like the day two stuff, like I do think it should be like you have to go X2. But like looking at someone like Wu, who is at towards the bottom of the day two people and standings, like since they only did 2 rounds, like he basically had no shot of getting to top eight. And I feel
Right.
like if you go X2, that's like step one. It feels like day two, you should have an opportunity to get to top eight.
Mhm.
Like you shouldn't have to rely on breakers. Like I want your gameplay to reflect getting into
Right.
top eight.
Yeah.
Because you've already gone from a field of what 440, so it's like
Mhm.
we know you're good enough. So it's
Right.
like give them a chance to kind of like play it out a little more. Yeah, I wanted to ask. This is directed more at both of you because you guys have more TCG experience than I do. But like some of these bigger events like in Magic or Flesh and Blood or whatever, like how do you feel about top eight versus like what other card games do? Like obviously you're not going to like scale it perfectly for how big the event is, but going from like 100-person PQ to like a 400 500-person sector, like
Yeah. So So Yu-Gi-Oh, I've played very little Yu-Gi-Oh. Nothing like actually major. I played like one region, two regionals maybe for fun, and I think I've only done well in like one of them. I think Michael like got qualified for nationals, and then we just like stopped playing, and that was quite comical. But we did play Magic a lot and go to a lot of events, and Yu-Gi-Oh I think was the only one I could think of. And I know like Bandai games do like top 64s and all of that stuff. Yu-Gi-Oh does like a top 64 for their big events, and then they do like an elimination bracket from there. I
And like
think
just for
Pokemon
context,
does.
because I didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh, or
Sure.
anyone listening, like how many people roughly would be at like that event size?
So their YCSs are pretty big. Like they I think recently they were around like 2,000. These are like their so a YCS is like equivalent of like like a regional almost, or
Regional?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
probably like equivalent of a regional. And they do like a top 64 for, 1,000 to 2,000 people, and they might even be bigger, and I'm like lowballing them, but they've gotten very large. Um Magic, the way that Magic events, and they may still do this. I haven't participated in a Magic event in a long time, but to day two, like GPs, you had to go. They would play 9 rounds of Swiss on day one, and then you had to go 6-3 or 7-2. I'm pretty sure it was 6-3 or an X number of points or better, which is similar to what Star Wars did. They had to get, I think it was 21 points, which was a record of 7-2. Um, and then what they would do is on day two, you would have 6 more rounds and then a cut to top eight. So you're playing 15 rounds of Magic into a top eight for that. And 6 rounds, I mean, if you went 6-3, you're probably not top eighting unless you like win out, depending on the
sure.
field of how many people are there. But um, if you go 7-2, you've got a realistic shot. You can go, a lot of people would go X1 on day two and then they're top eight. Right? It was like an X3 weekend for them. But you at least have a chance. You're like a fighting chance to get in there. Whereas it felt like Denver. Looking at the standings, like you said, Wu didn't have like a shot, or it was like a long shot because of his breakers. Um,
Right.
2 more rounds, even 2 more rounds is pretty huge to go ahead and get a shot to start. You start at X2, and then you get to have 4 more rounds of Swiss. Like yeah, it's 13 rounds, and I get that that's like a lot of time to invest in like a tournament, but this is like your Grand Prix, or this in Minnesota, which is going to be the Galactic, or not the Galactic, the regionals, are like your GPs, and these feel like events that should, in reality, you should have a chance. And if say your breakers are just bad on day one, like is that your like that sucks, but to not even really get a chance, like yeah, you get a chance at a showcase, but and maybe you
Yeah.
get a chance at a showcase, and assuming nobody's in top eight or ahead of you like that. So it sucks, and I hope that they do fix it going forward. I think they will. I think this was like an outlier because I know that SCG events in the past they did the 4K last May. It's almost a year from now or a year ago, and that was a top 16, and that was 135 people. I think they think they've changed it since to only do um, top eight on all their stuff, if I remember correctly. But
Yeah,
I
I think
prefer
that was
the
the latest update.
yeah, I prefer the get more rounds on the second day. I think Hearthstone did something similar. You and Michael played in some Hearthstone tournaments, like bigger Hearthstone tournaments. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't play like I was young when I was playing Magic, so I never played in like the Grand Prix or any of those big events. Um, I got to attend them, which was pretty cool to watch. But in terms of like Hearthstone, like it was like the tournaments that I would play in, it was just like not even Swiss. Like it was just like a big single elimination bracket a lot of the time. So like I think one comparison that I like for this game is like looking at Lorcana because they're both new TCGs. And I just love looking at when Lorcana has I think they call it their LCS, like Championship Series or whatever. And they do like top 32. Like I think that's just like a really cool bracket to
Yeah,
like look at and just see like all those different matchups and stuff like that. And then like kind of like a bridge to like talk about pricing for it. Like the pricing for Lorcana is like you get that golden Mickey, and that's like a $10,000 card because it's serialized and stuff. Whereas like I mean, Obi-Wan and Kylo Ren, they look cool. I'm like they look sweet, no doubt about it. But in terms of like value and stuff, like those cards are, as of right now, are going to get rotated out within a year.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
it's like I would like to see their pricing become a little bit more valuable because they can't do cash. So like a serialized Luke Skywalker or something, like a legendary of
Right.
some sort. And just like I think that would be really cool. I think it would generate a lot more like collector value, which in turn, like we were just talking about it today, like the secondary market has been increased with this previous set, and I think that only helps for like pricing and stuff like that, which I care about.
Yeah, absolutely. And so people have some context to what we're talking about the secondary market. TCG Player, Cool Stuff, all these other sites that are selling um, cards and stuff. Hashtag not sponsored, but like all these different sites selling stuff. They with the changes in rarity of cards, like more less rares and more legendaries. I've talked to a number of people that have bought their cases, and they felt that one case didn't give them the same full play sets that they used to have of everything, and so some people have been frustrated because of that. And I look at it as like, yeah, it's kind of annoying. You don't get all your cards, but at the same time, it makes our local prizing like much more valuable, right? Like our booster packs, like going to locals for the longest time, we would get our packs, and then we just like, not that we aren't still not opening them, but you know, we had no reason to open them. Like we're like fishing for showcases. Like that's basically it. And because the legendaries that are valuable, you like get very early on, and then you're done, and or you need like one more of them because you've basically gotten everything. But now you need like you'll have like two of a rare, so you need to like pick up the last one. So the card values are a little bit more. And if you just go like a TCG player, you'll see like all of the prices are a little bit higher, and that's for a game that's growing. I think it's good because then you're incentivizing stores to sell singles, and if stores are selling singles, you get to go ahead and go to your local store and buy singles or sell them singles like your extras. So the cards in your local shop are just available more because one of the problems with Yu-Gi-Oh is you can go to a store, but they reprint cards. The value is like high early on, and then they reprint it and the card's like 25 cents, and then you're just looking for bulk boxes of foils because that's where the cards are. And then their rarity system is like common. It's like a common card, and then it's like a super rare where it's just foiled, and then they've got like an ultra rare where it's got like a foiling and a gold board or gold lettering, and then they've got something secret rare, and they've got like different rarities. But like those lower rarities are just in bulk bins because they're like a 25 cents. And so
Right.
you're just like, okay, I'll like buy these 25-cent cards, but stores are like, I don't want that crap. They just go ahead and put it in a box, and they don't want to buy your bulk.
Yeah.
So
It does seem like with this set, they have made some progress. Like you mentioned, like the organized play packs, like the fact that they're all alternate art and you get a foil rare or legendary in each one or something.
Rare,
Um,
possible legendary with Han. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
like those are a lot more, interesting. And I think they also chose like better cards for the most part, which obviously matters.
Oh, for sure.
Um, and like the art looked really cool. And then like, people were like super hype about the carbonites. And like the serialized stuff is like,
oh, it's
yeah,
so
like
good.
collectors seem, yeah, like the art all looks amazing. And like, if you just want like a regular prestige or foil, like, they're not super expensive. And they still look really nice. And then people are really seeking the serialized ones, it looks like. So that's kind of cool. So it seems like some progress compared to like last set.
Yeah, somebody in chat mentioned the OP packs. I 100% agree with how good these OP packs are. They are
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal. I was curious. I was like, at first, I was like, I don't know how I feel about getting like foil commons and all this. And I'm
Right.
not gonna lie, like I collect from every set. I try to collect a play set of all of them, and foils and regulars, all of them. And now I go to my shop and I'm like, okay, I'm like this foil OP pack. I open up, I'm like, oh, sick. I've got them. I've been engaging in trading my extra OP cards for non foils or foils, like trading extras. Like the OP packs, they hit it on the nail. And like you're chasing a Han, right? Like the legendary Han. Putting the legendary in there makes those like a chase, and that's super cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also,
They also chose like Chewy, like they chose like
yeah,
some of the strongest cards in the set. So like, oh, I want like a foil Chewy.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
choosing
just
really good cards.
like
Yeah,
Director Krennic, like one of the
yeah,
best commons in the
Yeah.
set. I mean, it reminds me of like set one OP packs, like where you're getting your Sabine Wrens,
right.
your A Wings, your Resupply, Waylay. Like that's
Yeah.
the kind of like that gets me super excited for locals, even though it's a 3 card pack. Like I'm like, I hope I get this card. Like it makes it very incentivizing to go to locals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. They have been absolutely just amazing, and it makes me want to go to locals. Um, a lot. It's very easy for me, for me personally, to just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay home and I can load up some games on Carabast because I don't need the cards, I don't need anything, but I want to engage. Like I go out to engage with the community otherwise because I work from home. I'll just like stay in my house all day. Um, but it like incentivizes me. It's like, hey, you got a little treat. It's when I sign up for $4 or $5 or whatever the price is, you're getting this pack that is actually something you want. And so I feel I love it. I think today we had 24 people at our locals. Like
Right.
that,
yeah,
I think that is a contributor. Not only is the set great, the action taken by FFG, but also the OP packs, like players getting something that they're incentivized to come out and play. And I think there were
yeah. I
even
think
some
that's
new
been the
players
trend at a
too.
lot of local stores
There were
that
some
I've
new
talked to.
players, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah. It
I
seemed,
think
yeah,
three. I think we had like three new players that I'd never seen before. And on Friday there were a handful of new players also. And I think there was almost like 15 people on Friday. So I do think not only is the set great, but just like getting people in. So Sonny's in the chat says he needs a foil Han. Sonny, you can have my fourth one when I get it. I'll trade it for your Devastator. Prestige foil. Prestige foil Devastator. That's like the same
Yes.
value, right?
yeah,
Scoop also brought up a good point where it's like lowered the hyperspace art prices. Like just I love getting the
yeah,
Oh
normal
yeah.
hyperspace cards, like and trying
yeah.
to pimp out
Me
my
too.
deck.
Yeah.
So it's like the more I can pimp out my deck for a big tournament, like the better. So if it's gonna
Well,
cost me less.
well, that's like the
Yeah,
Carbonites, right? The Carbonites put a
Yeah,
ton of hyperspaces in flux for
right.
people. And if you're a foil person, you're not necessarily like you don't really care about
And
the
there's a lot more
hyperspaces.
foils.
A
Yeah,
lot of foils in there. So Sonny, I think, opened a case of Carbonite. I don't. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was a
I think
case.
he's open like 6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, he's opened
oh, yeah,
a lot of boxes of Carbonite, and
yeah,
he said that it's like great value, and that was like one of the concerns was like a $1,200 type price tag early on for that is kind of is that a lot? Like I mean, it's not that it is a lot, it is a lot, but is it like is that worth it? And I
yeah,
think the early sign like showing saying yeah, it's worth it. Like we're getting
yeah.
them
You
I
have
again.
think
like
you got good.
I think you have like I mean based on Sonny's pull rate, maybe he had the outlier, but I
Well,
think he said he almost
Sonny
had like a
poops love.
50% like showcase hit rate. So
Yeah,
like
and
just
he
hitting a
had like a
showcase.
bunch of good showcases, and he had a few serialized hits, I think, and he
Yeah.
was able to like
Mhm.
trade them for like a lot of stuff. So yeah,
Well, Sonny's like the luckiest pack puller I've ever seen. So, we got Top Deck McGee over here, and in Ryan,
Not me.
and then we've got pack puller Sonny on our team. There's all the luck in the wrong area. Well, I guess one area is right, the other one's like questionable. So,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I'm really positive. The new set Secrets of the Force is definitely going to be fun. Um, and
Legends of the Force, but yeah.
what? I'm sorry, what?
You said Secrets of the Force, it's Legends.
our branded
Oh,
set is set six.
yeah,
Yeah.
my bad. That our set
You gotta
six.
wait.
Yeah, my bad. The Legends of the Force. Some of the stuff looks really good, and I'm really excited for it. Um, but let's go ahead and move on to the big news that happened this week. The Beast is dead. Django out of here. So is DJ. So is Triple Dark Raid. How are we feeling?
Right, you go,
Kind
Ryan.
yeah, like kind of sucks for me. I was gonna play Django, and I was just gonna. So it's made me start to do more testing, which is
Yeah.
fine, I guess. But I think it was definitely needed. Django with the tools he got in the set were ridiculous. So it honestly just like took a lot of fun out of the game. Like even playing Django, like it just felt like you felt bad for your opponent. Like oh, you have 3 units, like yeah, tap them
You're
all.
all
Like
exhausted.
it's like okay,
Yeah.
it's like claim, and it's like all right, now I'm gonna smack you for 13 or whatever, and then it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm not having fun doing this. It's a lot of fun when you get to interact with your opponent.
Yeah.
And then TDR, that
Goodbye.
person that designed that car was on something, because uh, they they saw the future of the sets, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have like an all vehicle set, right? And it's like, yeah,
Oh
this is
yeah.
a good card. Like, find the card, attack with the card, gets a reduced cost, and then I
Ramp
draw the
twice.
card. And I'm like, yeah, okay, like this is great. Um,
And then they
uh,
decided, they were like, yeah, Devastator. I'm like, oh yeah, Devastator's cool. And they're like, IG 2000. We're like, oh yeah, that's a good
no
one.
no problems here. Just 13, and then I'm gonna draw it, and
Yeah,
then do another like sneak
Way
attack,
to
and
go.
then do 13. Like,
yeah. Or just
um,
like,
Yeah.
or you're like, oh, get my Devastator, tap down 4 of your guys, and then like attack for 9. Like, okay, that was
Yep.
fun. Yeah, I'm
I,
having fun. Are you? Like, yeah.
I think that was like the most brutal sequence. Is like 4 resources, TDR, Ruthless Raider. Then you deal your damage. Then next turn you sneak attack Ruthless Raider
Sneak
while
attack.
you flip.
Just
And then
curves
after
perfectly.
that, if you have another TDR, you find Devastator, and then you deal 13. So it's like, good luck.
Yep.
And then the DJ ban, I was kind of surprised they touched DJ. I thought they were going to go the opposite and get rid of Han 1, the leader, just because of his hand in set 3 PQs and how dominant he was in terms of like percentage. Um, and just I think his ability overall is just really powerful. But it seems like getting rid of DJ has gotten rid of the problematic deck, which was being able to play Cunning for 4 and just
Yeah.
like discard and bounce stuff. So now people have kind of pivoted to Han Green, it looks like, which is fine. It's beatable. It's kind of like all in on a strategy. So if you can disrupt that play pattern, it seems like you can win. So I'm definitely more in favor of that kind of deck if you are going to try to go all in on a strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I know one of us here is super excited that DJ's gone. That would be the Kira player.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I feel like I like playing against Han Yellow last set as Kira. Uh,
who are you?
I mean, DJ was just bad for the meta, I think. I think like if you're like, okay, can I play a 6 cost leader? And it's like, no, no,
Yeah,
no,
good
you
luck.
can't. Good luck. Even with, there's like they printed Champs and Dula, which is like a cool card. So like, you can play that like Cad Bane and like still get your leader out maybe, but like is that enough? Like I don't know. So I think it was good that they got rid of DJ. I do agree with Ryan. I thought that they would ban Han just because he's still like, I mean, like, even you go back to Django, it's like I still feel like Han is the better leader. It's just that Django's supporting package was just absolutely cracked. Because like you go back to last set and Django was like very good, but he wasn't like completely unbeatable, right?
Yeah.
I mean he was strong, but like it wasn't like you're just face rolling people like you were in set 4. So I think to me, like Han was still like the more busted leader, but Django had the better supporting package. So now it's like hitting DJ kind of like takes away like the most broken play, and he's still the best leader. I think it's just his supporting package, similar to if Django were still here, like with no TDR, it would just be a lot worse. Um, and then yeah, I mean I don't need to comment anything about Django. Everything Ryan said. That was not fun to play against.
Yeah,
Um,
I definitely agree with that. I got in BIATL, I got my opponent went triple dark raid, find find War Juggernaut, tap my board. Next turn, slam War Juggernaut. They were like sneak attack, or no, it was I think it was sneak attack War Juggernaut. Next turn, TDR Devastator. Next, the following turn, play Devastator. And I was just like, I
yeah,
just I was able to on the
You didn't
first War
keep that?
Juggernaut. No, yeah, no, jeez. On the first one, I was able to I commandeered his, or the first one I think I tapped it down. The second one I commandeered and then let it die because I took initiative and I got to let it die with the sneak attack. And then the Devastator I layered to tap it down, and the third Devastator I didn't have an answer for, and I just died to it. It's
yeah.
like I just ran out of answers. I was playing Han Green in a much more like ramp centric focused deck, and I was able to deal with the first three, and then the fourth one killed me. And it was like, yep, you. By the
Yeah,
way, my resources were being spent to not die on these cards, but meanwhile they've got an entire board of doing anything else they want to do, and you're just
yeah,
getting just completely blasted. And yeah, those cards going, I'm all for. And
yeah.
DJ, I mean, we've known about DJ since set two. Like we were testing it into Baltimore, SCG Baltimore. We had been testing it prior, and we had the list, and we were like, okay, this is like going to be really good. And I think like Ryan and Michael had been, or Michael was like huge proponent of it. He was like, this deck is like cracked. Like this interaction's insane,
Mm.
and we were gonna play it, and then for whatever reason, I think it was just like the Sabine matchup for the list we had, like just didn't feel good. Like something was wrong about it. And then that was the tournament that Ian went ahead and like broke out the deck, and he like crushed it. And the tech in his matchup, because we had tested it and Sabine was like a problem. In his deck, he was playing Grogu. And Grogu was just absolutely a nightmare for Sabine at that time because you just couldn't kill it. Well, you couldn't kill it and you couldn't kill them. So you were just basically stuck. You were just spinning your
Even
wheels a
better
lot of
now
the
with
time.
pilots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's like consideration for there's like rumblings like consideration for Han to play it in like the board or even like Quinlan. Like there's just like some ideas
Yeah,
there floating around about the card because of this go tall mentality. But like DJ then we knew was like messed up. The only reason it wasn't more powerful was Boba Green existed, and that deck just didn't care because not only were they just ahead of you before you could ever do anything, they were slapping a Boba's armor and playing a 5/3 or 5/4 on the same turn or 4/5 and just killing your tech before it ever mattered. And so you ever play tech into a 5 resource Boba and you're just like, yeah, that's just dying. Like I'm just going to ambush lackeys into it and then flip my boba and kill it, or just like flip my boba with an armor, kill your tech, play a bosk for free, or like kill something else with your bosk, and just like absolutely steamroll your board, and it just like didn't matter. And I mean, the finals at games and stuff that you played against Ian in that matchup, you played him I think round one, and then you played him in the finals, and I remember Ian's face. He was just like he was not having a good time in that matchup. He was like, I actively hate this matchup, and that was like a very powerful counter to it. And then Boba goes away. What happens? The third set's a dud. Like nothing in there. Like exploit decks were
Nothing
terrible.
new got changed.
Yeah,
Like Anakin kind of became somewhat popular, but like
yeah,
it's a 6 cost leader, so they can DJ you before it gets done,
yeah.
and it's like.
I mean,
But I
there's
mean, it's
nothing
just
to control the
crazy.
deck. Like it was faster than Sabine, so you couldn't race. And Sabine was basically the control deck in that matchup. Like you had to
do all
control
their
their
stuff.
board or they killed you, and you couldn't race them. Very rarely were you able to race that deck because like Cunning was a blowout. It's still a blowout card. Like that card's insane. And then if they ever like DJ tech like the control deck, I think the control decks were just absolutely unplayable into that matchup. And
Yeah,
I know Duncan played it, but it wasn't fun.
I mean,
yeah,
Ian played Duncan in the final four of that first games and stuff PQ, and don't I don't know what happened because I was in a Boba Green mirror match,
Yeah,
but um, that I think it wasn't that close, if I'm correct. I know it can steal games from Han Yellow,
yeah,
but I know going in you're not favored at all.
yeah,
But it's just
yeah. I
crazy
think
the
very unfavored.
timeline of DJ and Han Yellow. Like set one, it's a meme deck. You get the tools in set two, and it gets negated by Boba Green being so dominant. And then you open up the floodgates, and now it's like if there isn't like, and then we saw it recently with Django. Like if he wasn't so dominant, like it would have just been Han Yellow again, probably to start
Yeah,
off set four if he didn't get so many tools.
yeah,
Han season. Yeah, yeah. I think you had mentioned like me being on Kira. Like Kira ECL last set probably had the most options and lines to interact with Tech and DJ, and like at the games and stuff PQ in set three, like there were games I lost where like they still like Tech DJ'd me. Like that was still like to me that felt like plan A in those decks, even against Kira. Because they're like, well, this is just what wins games in every other matchup, which makes sense. And like I would still like just like loot. That'd be like the loss in a set that I would get 2-1. Um, but like if you watch like the other streamed events and you watch like you mentioned Anakin or any of these other decks, like it's just like really like depressing. Like they have to like sit there and like you know pass with like takedown, and like the Han player gets to like just do whatever they want, and like
Yeah.
and they still DJ them anyway. Like they're
Yeah.
like, all right, I just claim and like go to 5 and DJ you, and it's just like there were not enough options, I think, for other leaders and other colors, and it just was too like oppressive, I think. And then like it doesn't really happen outside the heart control, but like you watch that matchup and they're like, all right, DJ, and then I like waylay my own DJ and then like play him again, and it's just like looping DJ is like that seems busted. So yeah, I'm not sad to see DJ go,
No, not at all.
personally.
I mean, you open up the world of sevens again, right? Like 7 leaders are reasonably playable now that that card's gone, and not that Django really like didn't allow that, because that also kind of was a problem. But I mean, there was like a Yoda deck that was, I think it was top 16, or it was at least top 32 in Denver,
Yeah, he was
and
top 30 or something. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, so it was possible to play a 7, but Han Yellow, from what I understand, didn't have the greatest Django matchup, so it wasn't like super popular. Add on to the fact that it's more complicated than just flip tech DJ, and you like play those games. Um, so there were some green mid range decks that existed, but if Django doesn't go or TDR doesn't go with it, those sevens are not existing. Like 7 leaders are not existing. There's no world I would even consider any 7. Like I'm considering Vader for Richmond. Maybe go showcase something. I don't know yet. I'm still
right.
working through whether or not that's something's going to happen. But if DJ existed, there's no world. Like if Han Yellow DJ existed still, there's
Yeah,
zero chance I would play it anything above like a 6 cost leader
yeah.
into Richmond.
And I kind of feel like right now it's like it feels like a relief. Just it was like sort of fun, I guess, like in a masochistic kind of way to be like, oh, can I like solve the Django puzzle? And everyone came to the conclusion that you can. Like, there's nothing to solve.
Like you
Um,
could, but you made every other matchup so much worse, and
yeah,
you're like, is this really worth it? Like,
yeah,
no.
yeah. So it's like, all right, that's done, and now we're kind of like back to set 3 meta basically, but like Han kind of got like chopped a bit. So it's still like more open and will be more fun for sure for these events. But I think these changes also just kind of set the stage for like set 5. Like if they didn't touch DJ, it's like, these 6, like they showed 2 6 cost leaders already.
Yeah.
Like no one's playing those. Like
Yeah.
if DJ like exists, you're like, all right, this is just completely unplayable. Like I'm
outside
not gonna.
of outside of maybe like Qui-Gon Yellow, maybe like
Yeah,
can
but
you
like
imagine that you're just like you're playing mono yellow Qui-Gon, and you're just like, man, I just have tech DJ interaction. By the way, it's like for
yeah,
funs,
yeah,
for funsies.
Yeah.
right.
It's just so frustrating. Like, even being a deck builder, you're just like, okay, because this exists, I can't play 60% of the leaders. Okay,
Yeah,
so
Right.
here's what I have left. All right,
Cool.
yeah,
30% of these 5 or less suck. So it's like, all right, I'm down to like 5 leaders that I
yeah,
can play.
Yeah. And
Um,
like, and then your decisions were funneled even worse between like, okay, you have like Django and Han are doing totally separate but busted things, and it's like you could be like favored into one or favored into the other, but then a disadvantage the other one, or you can be like 50-50 into both, maybe. It was just really like awkward, and like, and then like still trying to be okay into the rest of the field was like impossible, basically. I mean, the health check of the meta for me is like how much aggro's in the meta. If you look at the sector like Sabine numbers, like that's
Sabine
just
was nowhere to be found. Like,
yeah.
that's just wrong. Yeah, I mean, because you
Well,
look back to set 3.
let's pump the brakes there.
Okay,
As
well,
somebody who hates all aggro decks, like I'm
that's
fine with
fair.
that not existing.
Yeah, but like it's that's way off the base. I feel like that we've known for the last year. Like you look at all the stats and whatever from like sets 1 through 3. It's like Sabine's always like, I mean, it's the best 4 cost leader. Like she's very aggressive. Like she sets like the bar of like your deck needs to be such and such efficient to like hang at these competitive events, and like that was like really eye opening. I think to see like, wow, like this is everything's so upside down that like people are just like, yeah, I'm not going to play aggro right now. It's very strange to
because
see.
she still does powerful stuff. Like nothing's changed on terms
Yeah.
like
Right.
of her power level. It's crazy that she got more tools like Sabine's masterpiece and like the new A wing.
Blue leader,
And
Chewy.
yeah, blue leader Chewy, and it's
You just
just
can't
like
attack with any of your units with Django.
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I can't attack with that, and it's
Cool.
like, all right, well, that's going to be 20% of the meta or
Yeah.
20% of the sector. So if I win the first 2 rounds, I have to face a bunch of Django's, and it's like
Right.
I can't attack with my units. So
Yeah.
And then if you somehow like win those matchups, you're like, all right, cool, I get a break from Django, and now you play against Han Yellow, and you get cunning, and like you're like, all right, this is great.
Yeah.
It
It
was
felt
like the
like
most
this.
hostile aggro meta or anti-aggro.
It felt like a very action compression. Like if your deck couldn't compress actions, you were just
Yeah.
basically unable to play because Django was going to like tap everything down. And action compression, like tandem assault, rebel assault, are so valuable in those types of situations. And even with rebel assault existing, like you didn't see Sabine, but I don't remember if Stevie gets in his Luke Rebel Luke deck, his Data Vault deck. I don't remember if it played Rebel Assault, but it wouldn't surprise me. But I know he played like Fleet Lieutenant with Rebels.
you definitely have fleet.
Yeah,
I
Wait,
don't
I
have
don't think he had the other stuff, but that makes me think of that Leia Lakehouse deck that got like top 20 or
yeah.
30 or something.
yeah,
Like,
She's really good at compressing the actions.
yeah,
yeah.
like Leia out with a couple guys, and then you Rebel Assault, and it's like 13 damage, and you're like, okay, like, and then Django just kind of has to like claim, and then you're like, all right, I play like two more guys because Django wasn't very good at like removing units really quickly.
No,
Like,
He,
so
I
like
mean,
you just go like super wide, and you're like, all right, eventually you're gonna like run out of. You're only gonna tap 3 units with IG 2000, and then I can
right.
finally get like an attack in.
well, here's like Ryan's masterclass of how to play Django and a lot of decks that he plays attack base. Like, do you have a Sentinel? No, attack base. Like, don't worry, it's a one slide action. You can send him $1 donation and you'll get the free slideshow where it says attack face. Like that is the
Good camp.
Yeah,
Are you in the
that's the like we played today. We actually played each other. It is like his whole strategy. I don't think you attacked a single unit in our games, and you're just like face, all face.
I think I did the game where I lost, and I was like, where did I go
Oh
wrong?
yeah, that was like
Attack a unit.
I
Okay.
remember. I actually remember when you were in BIATL, and I was talking to Andrew because I was watching, and he's like, "How's Ryan doing in his matchup?" Because I forget who was on camera. He's like, "How's Ryan doing?" And I look over and I see that you attack a unit, and there's damage on one base, damage on another, and I just watched Ryan attack another base, or another unit, so I'm gonna say not well,
not
just
good?
like not good. Yeah, that
Plan A
was crazy.
failed,
Yeah.
so Plan B is not a good one because I'm so far behind.
Yeah, absolutely. So with those cards being banned, like, what are your thoughts on should I mean they're not banned, they're suspended, but same difference right now. Um, with those cards out of the format, what else do you guys think should not be in the format? If there's anything else, do you think something
Mm.
is there something that comes to mind? I have a few cards that come to mind. We'll talk about those in a second, but what about you guys? What do you think?
Right, you can go first on this one.
So I've heard rumblings, a lot of people talking about Tarkentown. That it shouldn't be in the meta, which I can see because there are leaders that can take advantage of Tarkentown really well. I
Yeah,
still remember the days of Tarkentown being like, why are you playing it? You're not really using it that much. And
Not
like,
that long ago, really.
yeah,
yeah, so it's
yeah.
like
It's like why
if
is that not ECL?
when you
Yeah,
find
why'd
a
you
leader
play
that
ECL
can
each play?
take advantage of it, it goes really well.
Yeah.
But I mean, Chewie does bring up some alarm bells.
The leader Chewy?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that
What,
one.
what about the one that doesn't get destroyed or bounced by abilities? Yeah, that one.
Apparently, that's fine.
That brings up. I mean, it brings up problems with the Han leader, which is kind of
Yeah.
concerning.
Yep.
Because then, like, if Han had to play, like, if Han wasn't here, like, you couldn't play Falcon and on turn one unless it was Han 2. So it's gonna have 2 damage on it, which you just target
Like
down.
it's Target Town.
Um,
Been
so
a
like
victim of
forcing
that
them
one
to
a lot.
play like like an A-wing or something. Like it's a lot easier to deal with
Yeah.
before they put on Chewie. So like that does bring up some alarms, but I can see a world where it's not a super big problem once Han goes away. Um, I think Force Throw is gonna definitely be on the radar after this next set
It has
because
to
of
be.
all the Force units that are gonna
Yeah.
be added.
That card has to
Um,
be.
yeah, like Eric Victor was saying in the chat, like it's definitely going to be on the radar because of how many Force units we're going to get. I mean,
Yeah.
you already see Anakin unit 1 resource 1/1 hidden, so you can't attack it, and it has a
Right.
shield.
And it has a shield.
That thing is crazy. You're just like turn
Uh,
one force throw you. Like good luck if your hand has anything. Like
I actually don't
jeez.
think it will be like it won't be as good to like turn 1 Force Throw because they usually have like something to get rid of that they don't care about. It's still good to get rid of a card and deal damage to their unit, but it's like, oh, you killed my Quinlan or something in one action. All right, here's a
Right.
2 resource, like 2 card combo I got for you. I can't attack it, and I'm gonna force throw you now still. So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest radar for me. Is like force throw and Chewy as of right now. Um,
Mhm.
I can't. I mean, ECL's always been really good, but like I'm not really too worried about ECL and Tarkentown because they are gonna be rotated out soon, even though it doesn't feel like it's gonna be soon.
All
In a
right,
year.
we're already almost
Yeah.
at it. We're like almost into May. Like we're halfway through April. It's just
Yeah,
like
it's fair.
I mean,
we
like
only
once
have
Black Picks come around,
8 more
it's gonna be
months.
like, why am I even getting like set 1 through 3 cards?
Right.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
you're done
absolutely.
Yeah.
buying them.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything you said. Yeah, I think there's a lot of discussions around Tarkentown ECL. It's a little funny with the bases because I feel like, to your comment in sets 1 and 2, if you're running Tarkentown, people were like, you're trolling.
Yeah,
And they're like, ECL needs to be banned. And now it's like nobody even like barely talks about ECL. People are just like, well, we should ban Tarkentown. And I guess also ban ECL because we hate Sabine or whatever. But I
I'm all
think
for it.
the
Get rid of ECL. I'm
the,
good.
the common thread I think is like it's basically like let's say we ban Tarkentown and ACL, then it would be like okay, well now we got to look at Sabine Leader and Han. So I think the theme or like the thread between all this stuff is just like set 1 cards are just better than all the other cards, pretty much, like in a nutshell. So it's like you said, like once they rotate, I think things will be a lot better going forward. But there's, I mean, as long as set 1 and some of the stuff in set 2, like Poe Wrecker, like as long as that's here, like it's just they're just going to be kind of overloaded and like you're not going to like ban all of it, right? So it's like where do you kind of draw the line?
Sure.
I mean it's crazy how different like Poe is in an ECL deck compared to a non-ECL deck. Like
Right.
the
Yeah.
power level is like crazy. And they made Timely Intervention, which is like a pretty fair card, I would think. Like you pay the 1
Yeah.
cost and then you give your unit ambush. So it's like a 2 card combo. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of like sneak attack because you're
Yeah.
giving him a powerful
And
effect.
it's smuggle, which is nice.
Yeah.
I think in the future they're probably going to lean more that route, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Also, I hope for whenever they reprint or make new double aspect legendary events, let's make them all equally powerful or don't make them at all because I'm tired of
Yeah.
cunning and vigilance and not being able to play aggression and command.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those two really need some power ups. That's for sure. I agree with most of like what you guys are saying. I think I agree with all of what you guys are saying. While I would want in a world like I would have if there wasn't a rotation, I would want ECL and Target Town to go at some point. But I think I agree with you. Like over time, those are going to go. Some other cards that I personally want gone. I mean, I want Chewbacca gone like now. Like I hate that card. I also think Boba's armor is also the second card, but those two like I hate the idea of Chewbacca. The fact that you can't bounce it, you can't card abilities can't deal with it. You have to tap it down in some fashion to the unit with like frozen and carbonite. No good to me deads. You can't waylay it. You have to have like no glory for the villainy blue decks. Um, just like it in combination as I've played it a lot and playing it with Han is not okay. Like the fact that the old ramp strategy used to be, you want to turn one ramp and then you want to go into turn two, like on play your four drop or whatever, and then go into your turn five and flip on and stuff like that, or five resource and flip on. Now you're just like, okay, what three drop am I putting in space to slap this Chewy on? And a
Yep.
majority of decks just can't. Sabine cannot race that card. Like you just go Falcon Chewy, they can't race you, and I know this because I've done it. Like I did it on camera in Atlanta.
Yep.
I just raced him, and the Sabine player had no chance. They're five less HP, and they're just dying. And I'm gonna get to my Han. So the play pattern was turn one Falcon, turn two, or like turn one Falcon or Blue Leader on in space, slap a Chewy on it, and heaven forbid they played A Wing in space. Like, good lord, if I play Blue Leader, goodbye. Like, you are done. This game is over. You're just like slap a Chewy. I'm hitting you for 6 or 7. If you put on New Falcon, that's coming in for 7 next turn. That's a 7/7 on turn two. That is powerful, and it can't be bounced and defeated. Like power, good luck. You just can't do it. You have like there are a lot of times you just have to like make sure you have initiative as a blue villainy deck. Otherwise, you just cannot beat that card. And because
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I got no glory in my deck. I'm like, that's cool. I'm just gonna hit you for like 18 before it ever comes up, and then your play pattern is like turn one Falcon or turn one Space Unit, turn two Chewy, turn or resource four. You're like resupply into my leader, put down another three drop. You could be Tech or another space like Falcon or something, and you just dealt with problem number one. Now my next turn I'm going to 7, and you've taken like 22 damage. Like what are we doing here? And you're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, my no glory is online. It's like, yeah, okay.
Related
So
to Chewy, I did have one more complaint about things I thought should have changed. I thought that Bamboozle should have been errated so it can't defeat pilot leaders when they're deployed to a vehicle.
that is
I think
something
that
I've
was
heard.
a massive oversight, I feel like. It makes pilot leaders unplayable. But then they don't like errata, so it have to be suspended. But we need Bamboozle to deal with Chewy. So
Right.
it's like you need the broken cards to like fight the other broken cards. So it's just kind of like,
I don't
yeah, it's a little
is
awkward.
is bamboozle. I mean, I get that. I agree that it shouldn't be able to hit leaders, but at the same time, I don't know. Like maybe that's like I don't know if errata's the way to go, or just like print a better bamboozle. Like because they seem like they're not willing to errata cards, which is fine.
Totally, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I
But you
mean,
can't, you can't. If they banned it, then I mean, I feel like Han Green will already be like one of the top decks. And if you suspended Bamboozle, for example, like,
no, I agree. I mean, I
uh,
still think you should have
and
gotten rid of Chewy. Like get rid of it.
yeah,
We have
Like
a
sure, yeah,
little we have a Chewy question in the chat, which is
okay.
what's the reaction y'all think Chewy will command? And then it follows up by like everybody running
oh.
confiscates bamboozles, or do you think people won't notice before Richmond?
There's
Um,
no way people. I mean, if
Oh,
people aren't
I
noticing
think
before
people are
Richmond,
noticing.
if
yeah,
you're
people
not
are definitely
noticing before
noticing.
Richmond, you're just not. You're literally just playing the game with your eyes closed. Like you
If
just
you yeah, log on to Carabas and
yeah.
play against the Han
Yeah,
Green and get bashed in, you're like, oh man,
So what do I
that's not
think?
good.
What do I think you should do to combat it? I don't think. I mean, confiscate for some decks is like fine, but if you're playing villainy red, you have to have disabling Fang Fighter. That card
yeah,
has
Yeah,
been
it's
that's
got
good.
some type of
fantastic.
upgrade hate.
Yeah.
I my personal opinion is I kind of want the upgrade hate in my main deck because
Yep.
I don't want to feel like I have no chance going into game one.
Yeah,
And then if they don't have it, because it's like also relevant with Sabine because they have Darksaber and they
Yeah,
also
yep,
I
have
agree.
Chewy. So I definitely like to run it main deck and just take that two card like free resource if it doesn't pop up, um, or and then side it out going into game 2 and 3.
Yeah,
I'd rather be
I,
safe than sorry.
I agree. I
I think
100% agree.
specifically with yellow too, like Bamboozle was already such a good card in set three, and it was like main deckable, and now it's just like through the roof value, right? So it's like, I mean, even like just Han, right? Ignoring pilots, like Bamboozle lets you interact with this flip, lets you race. Like you mentioned, Sabine Darksaber, like it's just good across the board. And then you add piloting on top of it.
Yeah,
Bamboozle is just, and specifically like playing it for 0, you're like, oh, I have to pitch a card. But like the because of like the action system, like tempo is like so valuable in the game, and that's like partly why cunning the color is just so busted because everything is like oh, you like trade a card for tempo or whatever, but it's like tempo is so much more valuable. Like when you're ahead actions, like you get ahead a couple actions, so to speak. It's like it doesn't matter how many cards your opponent has, like they can't like catch up.
Well, it's
Yeah.
also like in Quinlan, like Tarkentown, for example, like pitching that
Mhm.
card doesn't really hurt you that much. Even if you're still playing Han Yellow, like you have so much smuggle, it's basically drawing you a card if you smuggle out something.
Right.
So it doesn't even matter sometimes if you're pitching that card because it's sometimes like I love keeping my 2/2s like Crafty Smuggler in my hand because it does work at the end of the game. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna toss my Crafty Smuggler, which doesn't look like anything to my opponent, and play Bamboozle for free, and then let's say I'm on 5 resources, I still get to Plo Koon you this turn. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Not only that, but I
Yeah.
think like other colors, I think are going to fight on a different axis. Like I don't think not that confiscate's a bad card, but I don't think it warrants a spot. It's like it's too narrow in what it's trying to do that I don't think it's good enough nowadays to like warrant a spot. Versus like we were talking about Kira today, right?
Mhm.
Different options for killing Falcon, like the 4-1 or playing Sentinels, like playing Power of the Dark Side, just making sure you have initiative to power their Falcon every time.
Yeah.
Going ahead and playing, putting some damage on there to try and kill their unit, playing just some type of effect that kills the unit immediately, that you're like afraid of. And it's not to say that
Yeah.
it's not going to happen later on in the game, but the against Han specifically, because that's right now where it's most common. Sabine's probably the second most common area I'm going to see it, but Sabine, it's very interesting because while I think it's like really powerful in Sabine, I don't. It's never. It doesn't feel. It's not Plan A. It's like okay, this is a plan that my deck can have. It's in a very explosive start, similar to like Wing Leader. It like fits that Wing Leader slot where you could Wing Leader your A Wing, but now you're just like I'm just gonna chewy my A Wing and I'm gonna hit you for 6, and it's a like a 4/6 or a 4/6 now that has raid 2. So I'm just like all right, I'm insulated. And but before you were just making a 5/5, but now it's just like it's more robust on the defensive end, and then against like removal spells it's just more insulated. So I do think that you gain a lot from doing it, but I think what you're going to have to do is find ways to interact on a different way. I don't think confiscate's good enough because it's just too narrow. Disabling Fangfire
Yeah.
leaves a body, like that can trade with a space unit. Like before it was like this card's like fine, you have a 3/2 in space, but now the 3/2 is like impactful because it's a unit, and with so many more space units that can trade with a blue leader, that can trade with the 3/2 A wing, it can trade with it kills A wing, the old A wing, like set 1 A wings. So it's much more reasonable to play a 3/2 in space than it used to be. And I agree with you on Bamboozle. Like card advantage, it's so weird because in Magic, card advantage was so important that you were willing to like spend a lot, like a ton amount of life for a crazy amount for just a card draw because you
Yeah.
don't see as many cards in that game. Versus this game, you draw 2 a turn. So going ahead and having the flexibility and smuggles like an additional like play onto that, having the ability to just like discard a card and smuggle out something or discard something that's not valuable now that you were just like a value play or something, and then still keep your main play open and just play it for free. Like it's having cards in your hand while it is important and it does matter. It's not as nearly as important as it used to be or as it is in other games where the hand advantage matters so much. So yeah,
Yeah. Also, doesn't really matter if you're taking 6 to the face with something you can't
yeah,
interact with.
exactly. So like if you're gonna die to something, like bounce like dying to it doesn't save you. Like you need to have an answer for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I 100% agree that that's the way to go. And not only that, something that's um, kind of picking up steam and something Bamboozle is in all this upgrade hate is going to be better into is Traitorous. Like that's a card that's gone under the radar and been forgotten by people. Like that card still exists and it's still good. Like these tall strategies, if you go tall early on, and I've seen people go make a 10 power Millennium Falcon, and you're like, I'll take that. That's fine. Hit you for 10. Like that's a real thing. You can't just ignore it. Then some villainy green decks, like it's going to exist out there. So yeah, I think that
I do
you
think
have to
that
be prepared.
card. I do think Traitorous will see a small spike in play rate again
I
because
think
of
it's great.
Yeah.
the format slowing down by I think probably by a turn or so. So it's like you were too far behind when like it was Django and Yellow Han being dominant. But
Yeah,
like now, since it's slowing down a little bit, you can probably justify it.
yeah, and stealing
Yeah.
like those tall strategies is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you, yeah,
Oh, looks like we lost Andrew for a sec. Dude,
It's a good return right there.
that face
Yeah.
man, I am so glad that's on camera. That face is perfect. That is
That's
forever immortalized in our YouTube channel, by the way.
that's
Um,
the thinking man right there.
that is a thinking man. So, but while he goes ahead and yeah, he had a hard restart, so he'll be back in a few moments. Um, but yeah, I mean, these are really interesting. Oh, you just snipped it. I appreciate you, BC. I really appreciate that. We'll make sure to make that maybe a thumbnail or something at some point. um,
Oh yeah.
so while he's doing that, like, what are your opinions? Do you think it's fixed? Do you think the format's fixed, or do you think that we're still in a problematic area?
Um, I do think it's fixed in terms of like there's not a lot of broken things happening right now. So like I was kind of talking about it earlier at locals. It's kind of like I like when the game is in a spot where it has this rock paper scissors meta. It's like you have your aggro, your mid range, and control. You can like beat two of them, and then like you have your in betweens like your tempo decks and soft control and whatever. So you have like you're good into a couple of the matchups, but you're always going to have this bad matchup which you have to tech for or change your deck for. So I do, and that's kind of how it was in set one. It felt like because there's always going to be a popular deck that's going to be powerful. So I do think it's fixed right now. I could be proven wrong after Richmond, and maybe something gets out of the the secret sauce. Someone brings the secret sauce and just runs Richmond with it. But I think for the most part they've addressed the very problematic stuff that was going on.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that there's a viability for 7 leaders again. 6 leaders for sure are much more viable. Like you're already seeing like Cad Bane's being much more viable into the world. You're seeing
Yeah.
there as we've seen Anakin as being an uptick, like much more powerful than he was before. I think a deck that's has potential. Like I have to look at it again because we're in a post Django world and a post Han Yellow. Well, I guess where there's still a version of Han Yellow, but not the same deep tech DJ Han Yellow. But you have like a Thrawn esque type thing. It looks like
Mm.
Andrew went ahead and lost power. R.I.P. Andrew's building losing power on a Sunday at 10 p.m. That's kind of weird, but unfortunate for you, buddy. Um, but like Thrawn in general, like he's still a very powerful effect, doubling up on some death rattle in Tarstone's death rattle. So the on death effects, like doubling up on
Mm.
those, like some of them can be really really potent. And I'm excited for the variety that we're gonna get. I expect to see a lot of Sabine. I expect to see a lot of Han, but I think that they'll be. If I had to take a guess, that's like 30% of the meta. It is my guess. What we'll see in like those two combined would be like 30%, like a
Yeah.
fair share of 15-15. And Han's still a difficult deck to pilot in terms of it has a lot of intricate lines, and you know not everybody wants to play those in a 9 round tournament. And then
Mm.
Sabine, while it has like on paper, or it has a low floor, but it has a high ceiling. So you can be, you can play it, win rounds. But you and I agree that playing against a good Sabine versus a bad Sabine, like they're very, very different worlds.
Yeah.
And it's just like the sequencing, action economy. She can still like Poe Wrecker ECL still a real thing. Like that is incredibly powerful. I think it's like I
That
was
never
watching.
went away. It
Yeah,
was
that's
just
that hasn't gone
forgotten
away.
about.
That still exists. Like these 6 leaders, like you flip Quinlan Voss, and you might just die the next turn from a Poe or a Wrecker. Like it just might kill you.
Yeah.
These are all like very real things. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. Um, if I had to put money on it right now, like on what would win the event, um, what do I think would win the event? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say Vader Green. I'm gonna go out there with a nice Vader Green is gonna take it all.
Whatever
that's
odds
the
you want on
sauce.
that, I will give you those odds, and
No, 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 no.
I will take a bet on that.
I said if I had to bet, if I had to bet, you know, I'm not betting on it. I'm not calling my
Let's
shot.
let's go into the world where you are betting, because I'll be in that world.
Hey, look, as a
Um,
degenerate gambler, I bet you would.
well, I'm not a degen, all right? I'm a calculated gambler.
All right, you tomato
Hey,
tomato. We okay.
like when you bet the Steelers to go to the Super Bowl, that's
Yo,
a
chill,
calculated
chill. All
gamble.
right. So for everybody out there, I'm a diehard Steelers fan. I make Taco Bell bets with Michael and Ryan, and this year Sonny too. Every year, I get super hype, super excited, and it does not end well for me. And I love Taco Bell bets. I love Taco Bell bets. So those
It's
are
crazy because you never win them. You just hand out
I
Taco
think I've
Bell.
won. I think I've like won like one Taco Bell bet, and the idea of like the behind the Taco Bell bet is like the $5 give like boxes, like it's like $5 to $10 is like what we because we love Taco Bell, so we like $5 to $10, and that's what we do. Um, so they're small bets, but I think this year I think I lost like $50 in Taco Bell this year.
Yeah.
So,
Um, but
but
getting back to Swoo, if I had to make a prediction on what's gonna win, I kind of feel like something weird's gonna win. I guess not weird, but like something we haven't seen before.
yeah,
Like I could see like a Kira ECL or like Anakin Colossus. Anakin Colossus is a little bit harder for me to picture because of Quinlan's popularity within the past couple sets. So I think that's kind of a tough matchup. But I would definitely go like one of those like mid-range 6 cost like reactive leaders probably.
yeah, I'm gonna
So
go out on a limb. I'm gonna put a crazy dark horse here. I'm gonna say a Thrawn green list. I'm gonna say there's gonna be a crazy Thrawn blue green villainy Thrawn list. I'm gonna go with that.
that'd be sweet. I mean,
I
at the
think
end of the
Thrawn's
day,
sick.
at the end of the day, people are going to play what they want to play.
It's true.
So just as like I picture there to be like 10 to 12% Sabine in the meta of like Richmond. It could be a lot higher because a lot of people in this area love Sabine, or it could be a lot lower because people want to play their Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi, like which is fine. I
Yeah.
mean, they want to showcase Hunt, more
I mean, I
power
want
to
to
them.
showcase Vader. There's only like one
Yeah,
of them out there.
I want one as well, but
Yeah.
it's hard for me to play that style of deck. So,
Dude, I love
uh,
that style of deck. I'm like 90% positive I might play that deck.
dude, I am 99.9% positive you are playing that deck. So,
If I can get happy with all of the matchups consistently, it's probably what I'll play.
yeah, I think you're gonna play that deck unless I trick you into playing something else.
that, that might be true. That very well might be true. You know, I've I want that showcase. Like I'm not a huge showcase person.
It's by the far the best looking
It's
showcase ever.
so good. If you haven't seen it, go look. I really want that showcase. So it's something I'm kind of working on. You know, I'm getting heckled every day about it. You know, but that's kind of is what it is. Um, so yeah, you know, is there anything else? You know, Andrew's out here saying Kira. You know.
Ooh, $30 Taco Bell if you play Vader right now. Ooh.
Wait, you're gonna give me $30 in Taco Bell if I play Vader? Snap it. Done.
Yeah,
Playing Vader.
you could have just given him like $5. He would
Yeah,
have
you didn't go through. I'm done. $30. Boom. That's locked in. That's in the chat. That's immortalized on the internet forever. I'm playing Vader
You should
for
go ahead and you
$30.
should snip that real quick.
Yeah. Let me get that snipped real quick. Get myself that 30 virtual handshake. There you go. Boom in the chat. I appreciate you. That's the didn't need much to see. This is what I'm saying. Didn't need much to convince me on this one. Now you've got to do a lot to trick me into not playing it because I just got $30 to play it.
That's true. I'm
So
gonna have to work on it.
yeah, you gotta think something real hard because I just got thirty
Use my
bucks in Taco Bell.
use my Jedi mind tricks. You know.
You gotta convince two people now. You gotta convince him to not give me $30 and to convince me not to play Vader. You gotta work twice as hard.
It's tough once money's involved. I'm not gonna lie.
That's true. So, but Andrew's a Kira player. You know, he I was hearing from him a little bit today that he was having some doubts, but I don't think that's true. I think he's pretty locked in on Kira. I think like me and Vader, I think he's like that with Kira. You know, he's ready to
Just
do it.
like how Sonny's not playing on green, like we all know it's gonna happen.
Dude, BC, you put in some information about what you need about Han Green. I got you. I got you. That
Just
deck is. I actually like that deck a lot. So I've put a decent amount of work into it, and I definitely enjoy it. So I think it has a real shot to do very well. So,
for sure.
but yeah, that was a great first episode. Anything else that we didn't cover that you want to talk about?
No, I
Anything about
think
the
we kind
channel
of
or anything?
I think we hit most of the major talking points. But I think we've been talking about content going forward. We're hoping to produce more content in the near future. We're trying to work on some getting the gameplay content set up, which is I think it's going to take a little bit of time, probably after Richmond kind of thing. But you can definitely expect more of these weekly podcasts going forward. Maybe some deck techs after Richmond, depending if we do well with them or not. And then just overall like strategy talk and stuff that we think is important to get you guys that information going forward. And like I said, we don't need to produce a YouTube video to talk about that stuff. You can always join our Discord for free. Talk to us. We're pretty
Yeah.
active in that chat.
I'll
I
actually
think
get the
we
Discord and post that in there right now for anybody who wants it.
um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, huge shout out to Bothan Network for running that BIATL event. Just even shouting us out in their Discord to get
Yeah.
us some Discord members and just helping us support us with this content train and just getting us started was a huge help. And I think really boosted my confidence going down this route of content creation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really excited for the future of this. Like I felt like this was something I want to talk about. Just talk about like what's going on in the world, be a little different, and just talking about the overall game itself, not just like an interview s. Just be like very, talk about stuff. And in the future, some interesting things that I'm kind of wanting to do for with the community. Maybe we'll do a character cosplay if something happens as a team.
Gotta
We
go
could
with that.
yeah, like get us all dressed up in like some robes as Jedi's or something at some type of event. Maybe we'll still, if there's some type of incentive for X number of views or something, maybe that comes down. We do like to do giveaways. I love giving back to the community. I
Mhm.
wanted to be a teacher and I love educating people. That's like super fun for me. I love giving stuff away. So like, we
What's
like,
next? We got
yeah, we got a
giveaway.
bunch of packs that we're giving away. So we're working on ideas for local communities as well as like we're going to Minneapolis in a couple of months. I think it's like a month and a half or a
I
month
think so.
almost.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try and set up some giveaways. So for anybody who's going to Minneapolis, like give us when we get that set up, like make sure to keep a lookout for that. We want to go ahead and do some of that stuff. Decklist reviews. We do go ahead and put that. We have in our Discord that I've posted in the chat. We do have a set area where you can go ahead and discuss ideas, discuss different deck ideas, discuss with us with other top players. Just talk about it. It's all free, so you don't have to worry about anything. And maybe in the future we'll go ahead and if you have a deck idea that's not in there or you want us to talk about it, we can go ahead and look at posting it on this channel and just having a discussion like what do we think we would change about it, what are our thoughts of card choices and stuff like that. Send us your funny decks, your meme decks. What are you looking at for locals? This game while there is a competitive scene, at the end of the day it's having fun, and if you're not having fun, what are you doing? So and let us know what else you want to see from us. We're new to this space. I'm new to this type of podcast and setting this up. Is there something you want us to talk about with like Reddit? Is there some type of article you want us to talk about? We're gonna try and do this weekly. This coming weekend, like I said at the beginning, Andrew's getting married. Again, huge congratulations to him. But so we might be a little into the week, like maybe Monday or Tuesday, depending on his schedule with his wedding and stuff. But we want to do this weekly, and we want to do it live. We want to interact with our community live. We don't want to just post the videos and not interact. And the group that's going to be doing this with me is going to change. It's not always going to be Ryan and Andrew. It might be Andrew or and Sunny. Michael might be on here. whoever can make it. We have 5 people running this entire team, and so we can get Brian on here if he's ever interested. For those of you who don't know, Brian is one of our teammates. He played Tarkin Blue in season 1 and he's played Tarkin Blue a lot, and he really enjoys it. And he's a good player. So get his ideas. He's a very quiet person, but he's an awesome dude. So if he's interested in get on here, we can throw him on here at some point. Get his ideas. What is he talking about? As well as other teams. If anybody else is interested in coming on here and just talking with us, I can go ahead and we can set it up. So looking forward to the future. Really appreciate everybody. Sorry, Andrew, that your power went out. Wish you could be here to close it out with us, but this has been awesome. And so thank you, everybody, and hope you all have a great night.
Yep. Thanks, guys.